Hi, this is Lisa Harden. I'm a longtime stamper and I want to welcome you to my exclusive YouTube series called Ready Set Stamp. I'll be covering the basics to all things stamping and paper crafting, and we will build upon that each week. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. What that means is that I sell all of the beautiful products we'll be using and more. I also teach classes online and post weekly tutorials to my Facebook business page. You can also find me on Instagram and Pinterest. But today I'm right here with you and we are talking everything stamps. So welcome everyone. First time or returning viewers, I welcome you and thank you so much for joining me here. My passion is paper crafting and gardening too, but I'm not skilled enough to do a video on that, so we'll just stick with the paper crafting right now. So today, let's focus on stamps. They are kind of the cornerstone of my crafting business, of course. My love of crafting comes from stamping. There's so many other paper crafting items that surround stamping, but this is really the basics, right? So I will mention the sun is very glaring right now. You'll see a little bit of a shadow down here. I apologize for that. I am in a beautiful sunny little craft room of mine, but that is the price I pay for recording videos at this time of day. And currently it's in the morning here. Okay, so let's talk about the different types of stamps. Stamps are, we're going to be using 4 stamp sets today. Stamps are made of different types of materials. And currently, at least in my stamping world, we deal with 2 different kinds of materials. One is called a cling stamp set. You can see that there. Okay, and the other material will be a photopolymer stamp set. Sorry. Okay, so photopolymer stamp set. We've worked with the photopolymer stamp set up to this time. Now we're going to introduce some cling stamps. Ooh, and you'll find out. Photopolymer and cling. So cling really refers to how it attaches to the stamp. It does not refer to the color of it or anything like that. We also call these red rubber stamps sometimes. Obviously, you can see why. These stamps, if you look at the cross, if you look at the cross feature there, they have a spongy part built in. So remember, if you've been watching this series, the past few times when I've used our stamp pads, I have brought in something that I call the paper piercing mat, right? And I place it under my grid paper and use it. Well, this is really just high density foam. This is taking the place of the foam it's already available or attached to the cling stamp. You get a much better image when you have that little bit of cushioning. So anyway, that is one big difference. So in Stampin' Up! World, these are, now look, I can't get that flower back in, and it doesn't matter because we're going to use it. I have a hang up about that, right? The stamps must be put back. Okay, so in Stampin' Up! World, these are the 2 mediums that you will find our stamps in. Now, you also may see, if you have older stamps, you'll see stamps put on wood blocks. These are fun, right? Well, not really. I'll tell you why they're not preferred. They cost a lot of money to send, right? They're heavy. They're much thicker than the stamp I just showed you, right? So, well, let me just show you the packaging. These have to be sent to you in something that's this wide, but now the mediums we have, see, so if you start collecting stamps, like I collect stamps, space is a premium, and you can put about twice as many stamps at least in the same space as it used to take for us with these wood. Now, they are the same red rubber cling type stamps, but again, it's the wood block that makes the difference. The other thing we didn't like about these, right, is you can't see through them, especially if you're trying to stamp words. You don't know how this is placed on the block. So there was always a little bit of, you know, hoping and praying, a little guesswork when you use the blocks. Now this stamp part's perfectly fine. I actually keep these because this has a lot of really cool sentiments in it, and every once in a while, you know, I also just kind of keep them because I don't have many wood sets left, and I want to show new stampers the evolution of stamps. So we are not working with those today because they don't really set us up for success. No, they're more difficult. They actually need other tools to make them more successful, and that is not something that the industry is using right now. So if you have them, that's great, and I'm sure you've worked through how to use them, but I'm really phasing them all out. Okay, so there are some other really cool features about stamps that we need to talk about. This stamp set, you can tell from the pictures, right? It looks like a line drawing. When we stamp this, I think, if you haven't seen this before, you're going to be quite amazed at the beauty of that you can get from a single stamp and one ink. Now we've got this other one. Oh, and this is on cling also. This one's also on cling. This one uses a technology that we've talked about a little bit before. Sorry, I don't want to get the glare there. This one is called a distinctive stamp. And that is a Stampin' Up! Technology that gives you images that are photorealistic with a single stamp. So when we stamp this, we don't get just one base color that all looks the same. We get different shades of that color based on how the ink is, or based on how the stamp is designed. Okay, then we have two photopolymer sets we're going to use. This really fun one in our new catalog called Celebration Tidings. Look how versatile it is. It has all of these borders and sentiments and a few little images. You've even got a little spider there. Who doesn't need a spider stamp? As long as it's just a stamp, I'm fine with that. And finally, I have this another stamp set from our new mini catalog. It is called Peace and Joy. Got some big, bold sentiments on it, doesn't it? And some little side pieces. And we are going to talk about, because these are so bold, we will talk about a little bit of a different technique that is best for using those. I've chosen each of these stamps because they're going to show you a little bit different technique, right? So, at the end of this video, I also have a graphic I'll put up that shows almost all of the supplies I'm using today. There might be a few that are missing, but I'll try and mention those as I go along. Excuse me. So anyway, you don't need to worry about writing any of these things down if you'd really like to purchase them. You can just take a screenshot at the end of the video, and then that's like your shopping list. And it even has my website address on it and everything. So I've tried to make it very easy. Okay, we're not going to talk a lot about the inks today, right? But I'll be using a lot of different inks. We are going to bring in the same note cards and envelopes that we used last week. For the most part, I'm going to use the white. And this is what's on the shopping list. But at the last minute, I pulled in some vanilla, just based on a couple of different colors I had in mind. So that's not on the shopping list this week, but it was on the shopping list last week. And also, if you are looking for them, you just go to my shop, and then you can just type in vanilla note cards, and they pop up. So, all right. So we're not spending a lot of time talking about the paper today because paper is going to have its own episode and it will blow your mind. Because one of the most beautiful things about Stampin' Up! Are the beautiful papers and all of the really talented designers we have. I was using the bone folder there, right? We talked about that last series, I believe. Just makes a nice crisp fold, especially on these thick note cards that have been pre-scored for us. I want to do a little variation on red, white, and blue. We've got the white, right? Then I chose a red, but I didn't choose a real red. I chose a red of ours called Poppy Parade. And it's bright. It's brighter than that. And then I'm going to choose this is also a bright blue. Okay? So we are going to kind of brighten up the red, white, and blue theme. Now, if you like traditional red, white, and blue, we have colors for that also. But just for today, we're going to have some fun with this. Okay, so remember, these are cling stamps. They're already on the sponge, so we don't need to use the paper piercing mat. We save that for later. And let's see here. I haven't even thought this out, so, kind of nerve-wracking. I hope it turns out okay. Why don't we see, you can kind of like place your stamps where you think you might want them. Why don't we do the lighthouse off into the background, and then maybe like this, but really light, and then we will do, we're gonna do a sentiment. And why don't we say, set sail in the direction of your dreams? Not quite sure. We may have to change that up based on how our stamping goes. That's the fun thing about it, right? Is you just kind of play. Now, we have used the acrylic blocks in the first series. The block came with the set I was using, the all-inclusive stamp set that I was using. These blocks are blocks that you can buy separately or as one set, and they fit all of Stampin' Up all of the Stampin' Up stamps. We'll refer to the stamp block size that you need, and that's all in the catalogs underneath, right underneath the stamp sets. You can just start out with a few though, and I have another option for you that we're going to be working with when I work with the cling stamps. So, stay tuned, super fun. All right, so again, I'm using the tapping, right? We are kissing it, we're not making out. Oops, sorry, that was behind my little image there, wasn't it? So we're tapping, we're kissing. It's too early for making out. Okay, I'm gonna put this on its side because I wanna be able to see it. And sometimes it's better if you're doing this on the side where the stamp is gonna be closest to you. And so just firm pressure all around the stamp, and then immediately, this was the one I was telling you. Look at the line drawing image of this. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at it. It's got the shading built in the form of, again, a line drawing. An actual artist skilled in drawing could make that, but it would take a lot of time. And if I were doing it, it would not look like that. It wouldn't look like that at all. It wouldn't be pretty. Here, let's see here. We've got two sizes of sailboats. I think I want the smaller one because I want to stamp it a couple of times. So I'm trying to create kind of a foreground background thing, right? And let's see here. First of all, I know I have some grid paper. The grid paper is the white paper with the grid on it, but I don't want to mess it up right now. I just got it out, all fresh for you. But I also need a little, so I'm getting some old grid paper out. Sometimes I do that. And it keeps my base work surface clean. Okay, so I just want to take a look at it, right? I want to take a look at, again, first generation stamping, right? And second generation stamping. And then when we get to third generation stamping, you can see it, but it starts to fade off and you don't get the total image. So we know we can use first and we can probably use second. I am going to use second on this particular card because I already have a lot of the Pacific Point color, right, in first generation stamping. So I kind of want it to look a little different, even though I'm using the same ink. Okay, and I'm cleaning these off to the side on my little ugly chamois. It comes to us a beautiful Highland Heather color, and it very quickly gets stained, but that's okay. We still love it. It works great. Probably works better as time goes on, to be quite honest. Okay. I might want the sentiment in blue. We'll see. Okay, so now we're going to take this Poppy Parade, and let's take a look at what that looks like. Oh, it doesn't look very good. It looks like my ink pad needs to be re-inked. We'll talk about that in another video. But I like it first generation. So, see, you're always just kind of playing, trying. It's also really good to have a sheet of scrap paper or grid paper while you're working, because you want to try the stamps out before you put them onto your note card, right? Yeah, that is a good idea. I am going to, now I'm not worried about stamping these so I get a clean image, even though one's supposed to be in the front of the other, right? We're not really worried about that right now. We're gonna just go with it. I don't want any of them lined up though. See, and I even have one that looks like it's so close that you can only see part of it. So that's kind of fun. And then finally, let's look at our, oh, hold it. Why don't we put some birds in? Why not? Change my mind. Okay, so as you can see, I'm using blocks that are different sizes, right? I have all different blocks that are different sizes. And that is mostly because we're always trying to set ourselves up for success, right? And so if you're using a stamp block that appropriately fits the stamp, you're setting yourself up for success. You're not going to roll off to the side. And it's a lot easier to do that when you are on a stamp block that's the right size than, let's say, if you got a stamp block big enough to fit all stamps. That's okay. But for one thing, it's a lot harder to work on, and you're also giving yourself a lot more surface area to worry about, and it's harder to balance and get this image just right? Plus it doesn't fit in your hand very well. Like, you want to use that when you need to, but it's much nicer to have a stamp block that comfortably fits the stamp. Then you don't have that rolling problem because it's already balanced. That's not so much a problem. It's only a problem if you really rock and roll. We call that rock and roll, right? It's only a problem if you really rock and roll the stamp. So let's bring our Pacific Point blue back in. And we will stamp some of these beautiful birds, because they're cute. Again, just doing a test. I haven't used this stamp set for a while, so I thought I should probably remember how they looked. Those are fun. Those are super fun. I like them. I got a little bit of blue up here. This was not planned, but this is one of the few things I don't sell, but you can find them in lots of different places, including Amazon, and that is a mono sand eraser. Now, it's something that can take off light smudges of ink. It even takes off a little bit of adhesive if you got glue where you didn't want it, right? But remember, it's doing that by sanding the paper, so you can't erase big mistakes with it, or else you'll have a hole in your paper. But that helped right there. Okay. Now, let's see. I almost want to bring in black for the sentiment to kind of ground all this. Why don't we? This is a different little ink pad that we use. We will talk about that but we're going to spend a whole series talking just about our inks and all the fun things you can do with those. So we'll just hold off. Just suffice it to say, this is a different ink pad, but it's black. Okay, so now I have a few choices for sentiments, right? I have a few little choices there. This is a great mixed stamp set, and then it has lots of images and lots of sentiments. You can do a lot of different types of cards with this one stamp set. Let's see. Now I'm thinking my original choice is a little bit too large for our design. I think I just want to say thanks. Mainly because I send a lot of thank you cards because I have a lot of people to thank in my life. I consider that a really good thing. Yes, I'm very lucky. Okay, put those back because remember, it's my thing, right? It's my hang up. You don't want those stamps rolling around all over the place. And then again, I think it'll fit on this one quite nicely. Okay. I even have a block. I think I have a block that's smaller than that. Well, no, that's the smallest size block, but then we have another one that is a rectangle for longer, thinner sentiments. So, all right. Now we're just going to, again, tap, 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 ink up our thanks. Bring in our junky paper. Oh, yeah. And just position it here. I want to try and make sure you can see this, right? Okay, now my light outside is getting weird. It is getting cloudy. Okay, we can do that too. I much prefer that over the glaring sun. I'm most happy when it's about 55 or 60 degrees. So, as you can imagine, not really happy weather-wise during August. Okay, and here's our card. Super cute. I like it. We have lots of different things going on. Only a couple of different inks. It definitely has a nautical feel with the red, white, and blue, right? Totally fun. A great thank you card. All right, let me get cleaned up here. So again, all of these stamps can be cleaned on the Stampin' Chamois, which you just soften with water. That's all. Now the tops of these are very sticky, and they come without these labels on them, and you have to apply the labels. I would suggest, if anyone is going to buy these for the first time from me, please let me know. I will send you a short video from the company, and it walks you through how to apply the stickers on them. Because the stickers, once you place them, like the cool thing about them is they really stick to the blocks. The caution is when you are putting them on the stamps, you kind of have one shot at it. You can't peel them back up and place them if you are off. So as you can see, like on this one, I have a little bit of an uh-oh. Whoops, sorry. I have a little uh-oh there because I didn't get this quite right. It doesn't affect the stamp at all. You just have to remember that you get one shot. So anyway, some people use these without the stickers. I don't have any of those to show you because I don't use them like that. I have to have the design. Because if you don't have the sticker on it, then it just looks like everything looks like I always think it looks like a gray cow. You know, it just looks like a blob. So anyway, that's personal choice. They will still stick to the blocks, but the plain sponge doesn't stick as well. And so anyway, please let me know if that is something you would like to see, and I will send you the link to that. It's a great video. There's no need for me to redo it because the company did an excellent job. Okay, let's take a look now at this cling stamp set. This is the one that I said was distinctive, and the company spells that like distinctive, except the word ink is in the middle. So that's what you're looking for when you look for a distinctive stamp. Distinctive stamp set makes it very easy on you. This is samples of all of the images just in one color. Sometimes I put these in the set if I have time or if I'm doing a specific class on them. But this is really what I'm talking about right here with the flower. That is done with a single stamp, a single stamped image. But you get all these different ombres and shading just because of the technology that's built into the stamp. Lots of different, let me see if I can bring that up and get you to see. There we go. Lots of different levels and laser cuts made into this kind of a stamp. Right, see that? Isn't that interesting? Such an interesting craft we have. So let's see here. Whoops. Oh, that one doesn't have its sticker. Oh, well, that's a good example, right? Looks like a little gray cow. So you don't know exactly where everything is when it doesn't have the sticker on it. I think the sticker actually kept coming off of that one. Maybe because it's so small. There it is. But in any case, I digress. Okay, so let's block up a few of these and see how these look. And I do generally think of posies as purple, but the beauty of a stamp set is it may be called purple posies or gorgeous posies, but you can make this anything you want. You want the black posies, you can have them. You want Mary Merlot posies, you got them. That's the artsy part. Okay, we want that. We want some of these beautiful leaves. And see how I'm just sticking them. They just stick right to the block. And let's do a long stamp for a very kind and thoughtful friend. Yes, that's a good one. And then finally, we're going to bring in this. I love it when they have these types of things in the stamp sets. They're just little textural pieces. So let's have some fun with that. Okay, I'm going to put these over here, get a little stash, and then let's have some fun with this gorgeous posies. I am going to use 3 colors of purple. Gorgeous grape. Highland heather. Well, maybe not 3 different kinds. Let me use a lighter green. Where is it? Clear around. No, it's hiding from me. There we go. Pear pizzazz. Okay, pear pizzazz. Pretty. So a little darker purple, lighter purple, and then a green that's really kind of in the middle. Let's start with the Highland Heather. I absolutely love Highland Heather. It is the color of the chamois when the chamois is brand new. And it's just a really nice mid-range purple. We're just inking it up again, using our kissing technique. And then we're going to stamp. And we're going to stamp these all over the paper. See how I'm kind of turning it? Oh, I'm glad I did that, but that is not the right way to do that. So I'm glad I did that though. First generation stamping and then second generation stamping. But do you see what happened here? That happened because I stamped a partial image up here. So there was still extra ink on the outsides. So really you end up getting a stamp where there's first generation stamping and then second generation stamping. So that's okay. But we are going to get a new card. But let me show you how to fix that. Yes. Actually, I'm just going to turn this one inside out for illustrative purposes. It sounds so highbrow when I say that. I'm also bringing my scrap paper in off to the side. Because, okay, so let's try that again, Lisa. First generation stamping. Okay, now if I want a second generation stamping, I have to stamp the whole image somewhere and then come in and do second generation stamping, okay? So we are not, or I need to stamp an entire image. So as I stamp this, I am going to focus on rotating the stamp. I'm going to focus on putting different first and second generation stamps next to each other. And I'm just going to cover the whole card. So for this, I like to have a full image in the center, or the part of the card that's going to be high profile. And then I like to come in with partial images all around it, right? And then we definitely need some first generation right there. And we definitely need some more second generation right there. So we are making almost our own designer series paper. It looks like a patterned paper, right? Isn't it fun? Okay, I might do this one final. Here's what I might do. I might do third generation stamping right in here, just to give it a little color, but I didn't want its design. Ooh, looks pretty already. If you put a sentiment on that, you're done. But we're not done. We're going to also add some leaves. But you can see how, let me put this there. You can see how that's such a cool stamp because it's got all of that different textural technology built into it. A lot of times we get asked, what is the difference between a cling stamp and a photopolymer stamp? I mean, why? Let's see. It's usually asked, why are certain things printed on cling and certain things printed on photopolymer? Because we don't have every stamp. Every stamp is usually presented in one or the other. We don't have every stamp presented in both colors or both formats. Sorry, I got hung up on colors there for a minute. Anyway, my point is, it just depends. It depends on stuff I probably don't even know about, business decisions and such. But in general, it depends on the design and which medium is going to hold and replicate that design the best. And again, in general, I can see things changing because I get different stamp sets. And then I know that some of the technology is changing for different designs, but I see the more detailed stamps coming out in cling format, okay? And then I see the larger images that aren't as detailed coming out in photopolymer. The distinctive stamps seem to generally be cling, although that's the part that I think is changing. We've also been getting some distinctive stamps or some stamps that definitely have a lot of variation in them in photopolymer. You just need to know in general that they work the same, right? They stamp the same, but all stamps need a little bit of cushioning. And with cling, the cushioning is built in. And with photopolymer, you have to add it. Okay, putting that away. We just have this really like lush picture, don't we? Now I'm going to bring in the Gorgeous Grape. This is the darkest color. And I am going to stamp my sentiment in that. And I definitely want to do a dry run. This is like a long stamp. I don't want to get it crooked. I want to make sure that the label's on there. Oh gosh, I'm so glad I tried that out. That's kind of a hard one to stamp with, isn't it? It needs a very light touch. Very light touch. See, these are things you need to know. And you really can only do this by just stamping because, in fact, I will use second generation stamping. nobody is going to stamp exactly like you, which is kind of cool, right? Like nobody's going to ink it up like you do, and nobody has the same amount of pressure that you do. Some people stamp so lightly. I'm surprised that they can get the image on the paper, but I'm a lot more heavy-handed than them. Okay, I need to bring this towards me a little bit because I want to make sure that I get this fairly straight. And it's fairly straight. There's a little bit of a little curve there, but it's okay. It's very close. Okay, so finally, I'm going to kind of reinforce that dark color. I wanted to use the least amount of ink. I wanted it to be in the dark color, which again is Gorgeous Grape. But this is going to add just some fun. Oh goodness, that is so dark. Well, I've done it, so I have to do some more, but I'm only going to do 3. No, let's see. Let's do a partial. See, I can't stand it. Let's do a partial. Right there. Okay. It's all right. Actually, now that's an even number, and I'll immediately, before I even counted, I was like, that does not look right to my eye. There. Let's have 5. Oh, this is a fun card. I like it. For a very kind and thoughtful friend. And look at that. Isn't that fun? And again, the point of this was that these are distinctive stamps. So you get a lot of variety in the stamp itself. You don't need to add a lot of different coloring and different layering of colors because it's already just built into the stamp for you. All right. Let me, again, clean the decks. And I do want to mention that I watched this, or I don't watch this video again. I'm here, right? It's not that interesting. But I watch for comments on this video and definitely reply, even if you're just saying, hi, I am from XYZ state and I've never stamped before. I love to know about you because stampers are a close-knit community. And so anyway, tell me about yourself. Tell me anything you want me to know about yourself. And or just say hello if that's what you're comfortable with. I love that. Tell me what you like about the videos. Maybe what you think could be improved upon. Notice I don't say like, don't go off on me. But I definitely take constructive criticism and work it in where it's applicable for sure. So if you have anything you would like to see, let me know. I might already have a video for it, or if I don't, I'm always looking for ideas for my next video, right? I do, well, several recordings a week now, so I need ideas. The funny thing is my brain has so many ideas. It's so funny. We're going to bring a new contraption into the picture now. Look at this thing. Cool, right? This is called the Stamparatus. It looks different. It looks advanced, doesn't it? It might worry you, and you might be wondering, why is this thing in the basics class? Well, I sell this to a lot of beginning stampers for a couple of reasons, but here's why. First of all, remember all those blocks I had and all the different sizes? Well, each of these have a different cost, and if you add the cost of every block that we have up, it's a little bit more than the cost of purchasing the Stamparatus. So lots of times when people are just starting and they don't have any blocks, they like to purchase the Stamparatus because every stamp fits on this, and you have good, you set yourself up for success with this stamping tool. This is what's called a precision placement tool. And you can stamp and re-stamp an image in the exact same spot. It is near impossible to do that freehand. I think I tried a couple of, maybe it was the last video I tried that. And remember I got kind of a halo effect, which we actually liked, right? Is cool, but you cannot really feasibly place an image on the same place twice with your hand. But with this tool you can, okay? There are a couple really good reasons you want to do that. First of all, because if you're a new stamper, say, and you don't get this placed quite right, your cards or whatever are ruined. But if you can re-stamp it, then it's perfect. So it cuts down a lot. Sorry, I'm grabbing some paper. You can hear me going away from the mic here for a minute. Grabbing some paper. So you can waste a lot of supplies when you're trying to stamp and you haven't quite perfected your stamping yet. But with this tool, you can just put them in here. Now let's talk about this actual tool. It comes with 2 magnets. I've put this washi tape on them for handles. They're really strong. And these magnets have a home, and it's right on the back of the Stamparatus, okay? When you purchase this, that's where they are. So please don't think that they've forgotten to give you the magnets. They're right here. This is very handy. This is also a place, though, that will catch and hold little magnetic things that we use called dies. So if you are looking for a missing die and you've had the Stamparatus out, flip it up because the die is probably underneath. Okay, so this thing itself is a base plate that has a grid on it. This can be cleaned, but it will stain. Now then you've got 2 sides that have these hinges on them. So invaluable. This is what makes our placing tool different from anything else on the market. For one thing, you will get 2 of these plates when you buy the Stamparatus. You can flip them around and put them back in the hinge. And that makes it really easy to use multiple stamps. And I'll show you about that in a minute. Then you get a little piece of foam. You might think it's packing material when you first get it. Don't throw it away. And it's embossed with the logo, and that's probably why. This is what you're going to place in here when you're using photopolymer stamps. Remember, it is the spongy part of what you need. It's removable because when you are using stamps that are clinging, you already have the stamp sponge built in. So you don't need to add that. So that's something that you take in or out, okay? And then I'm just bringing in some Whisper White paper. Let's place it in here. Now, I'm also using a removable grid. You can now purchase this with grid linings on it. I like the paper though, because of course you can throw the paper away. So everything stays neat and tidy. Also, sometimes I will draw on this. If I am making multiples of a card, I'll basically just draw a template on it, and then this is why it's so great for using when you're making multiples, like 20 Christmas cards or 70 Christmas cards. That's where you want to use something like this, because once you get it all set up, you can just be like your own little stamping production line. Okay, so what I pulled off here to just start demonstrating with is this and this. I think it's so cute. This is kind of a cool set because, again, it's just mostly like these horizontal pieces, right, that you can use to enrobe, if you will, to go around sentiments or some other little addition. Now here's how the Stamparatus works, or how you set things up. First of all, I'm just going to cut this paper because I need to get closer. I need to come closer. Okay, there we go. All right, so if I know about where I want this, I place it, and I'm looking at the grid lines, right? Trying to make sure that it's straight. And then I'm going to place this right underneath it. And I know I want them about a ½ inch apart. A ½ inch, like every one of these grid squares, is a ¼ inch. So I want these about 2 lines apart. 1 and 2. we go. 2-ish lines apart. I want to line them up. Okay. Then I bring this down. This is acting like the acrylic block, right? And then it pulls up. Now I want to take a look at this because also this plate itself has grid lines on it. Hope you can see that. Yeah, there we go. This plate itself can tell you if something is crooked or not. For some reason, I got this slightly crooked. So I know where I want it, right? I'm just gonna kind of like reposition it slightly. Now you can do that by putting it back down on the paper, but I can see, oops, this is kind of difficult because it's a straight line, remember? And straight lines want to just fall in place without you helping them along. Did that work? I almost want to bring it down this way now. Sometimes you just have to fiddle with it. This is a very distinct design, which is also why I wouldn't want to freehand it. No, we're going to start over on that. Let's just start over, shall we? I think I need to put it back down on the paper. Here's what I'm going to do. Like I told you last time, take your block to the image. Let's put it down here where I can see it a little bit better. One problem is that the camera is sitting where my head should be. So that always makes it a little weird, right? Okay, I think I got it much better that time. I still don't love this edge. It appears a little crooked, and I don't know if that's just there. Oh gosh, can you see that? Okay. So I would definitely place it down again, then make sure it's in its place. Now this is just some scrap. This is like my scrap paper. I'm just giving it a try, right? And let's see. I think I'm going to make a fall themed card because of the pumpkin. And I just made 3 different strips. Nothing fancy, except this paper is absolutely gorgeous. So this is some paper that will be listed on the shopping list. Nothing fancy that I've done with it though. It's just 1/2 inch by 4 inch strips of paper. And I would like to play off of this one. This one, I started to like it, but really it's very Halloweenish, isn't it? It looks just like candy corn. So you can play with that in another way. But let's do this one, because this guy looks pretty good. Okay. So I am going to choose colors that are in there. And one that comes to mind, of course, is pumpkin pie. Isn't that fitting? Boy, it's getting dark. I don't know what's going on. Just gonna go with it. Okay, beautiful pumpkin pie. So can you see what I'm doing there? I am inking this kind of upside down, right? Because that's what you do when the stamps are in the Stamparatus, is you take the ink to the stamps. And then you bring it over here and give it some pressure. I realize there's a little bit of glare on that. Give it some pressure, okay? Oh my gosh, it's perfect. But if you don't think it's quite perfect and you want to ink it up again, you can do that. So here's what I'm talking about. Getting it in exactly the same spot every time. Isn't that fun? And so I've really just kind of darkened the image, and it's really fun. And then what I was thinking, oh, look at that. We are going to place this right in the middle. Now, after all that worrying about that line, it really just does get covered up by the paper. But I love it. I still know that it's perfect. So, okay, let's take this out now. And let's put our real card in here. And I am going to, before I take that out though, it's centered in here. Now the thing is, my card's a little bit smaller than that, but as long as we have, can you guys even see those? Thank goodness I have that one in there. I don't even think the other side see it? Oh, it's right on the black line. Okay, I should have used, let's use a red pen, right? So you can see that. I can see it, but you're a little bit further away from it than I am. Okay, how's that? So now that we know where that is, again, we're going to bring our note cards in. I'm going to use vanilla this time. I think that it plays well with the warm colors of autumn. So now that I know that, I want to have this note card. I'm going to go ahead and fold it. And it's 5, right? But I can still see these lines, and so as long as I just make sure that the lines are evenly spaced on this card, and luckily what you can do is, okay, there's the line, and then there's like one and just maybe 1.5 squares on the other side of it. So then if I go to this line, I can now see that there's 1.5 squares on the other side of that. Okay, we're locked in then. We know we are evened up and we are ready to go. So then we go back to the stamp and ink it up. There, I can just get in the screen, can't I? Ink that back up. Ooh, well that was one thing I didn't remember, that you have to even it up in both places, Lisa. See, I'm not like one of those robot videos that just does everything perfectly every time, right? My excuse is I like you to see real life stamping. This is real life stamping. Oh, so gorgeous. But you know what? It's a little light right there. So I'm going to re-ink that spot and redo it. I like this image redone. There. Maybe my inking was off. Maybe my pressure was off. It doesn't matter because you can redo it. I actually like it stamped twice. It's just more prevalent, isn't it? Very pretty. Okay, I love it already. Now we're just going to get, I'm going to use some liquid adhesive for this little strip of paper and put it in place. Now, the vast majority of our DSPs are two-sided. The designs are double-sided, so that's what the back side is. A little Halloween and a little Christmas. This is a great paper to have for all levels of stampers, because first of all, we love plaid. Like, as crafters, I think you just have to. It's probably in the rules somewhere, but also it just goes with so many themes, and it's definitely a sign of fall, isn't it? Okay, so I have cut that a little bit longer than the design on purpose. Again, just to add interest. We don't want everything to line up perfectly straight. So cute, colorful. And then I want to bring a sentiment in, because the stamp, or this set, has some great sentiments. And there's that one that's so pretty, and it says always grateful. Love it. Must have it. Haven't even used it yet. Look at that. I was making some Christmas cards with this the other night, but other than that, I don't think I've used this set, so super fun. And now I'm just going to get a block to show you that this is all kind of interchangeable, right? You use the blocks and the Stamparatus interchangeably. We will have a video that's all about the Stamparatus and all the techniques, well, lots of the techniques that you can do with it, but that's for another series. Okay, let's see here, another episode. What color do we want to use for our ink? I don't want to use pumpkin pie. There's a lot of pumpkin pie, and I don't want to use black. I don't know, focus on that. How about crushed curry? It's like a nice fall yellow color. Of course, we'll do a test. Where's my little janky paper? Janky paper. Ooh, that's beautiful. Look at that. Oh, that's so nice. And it's really easy to stamp. Okay, so again, bringing this in, Really just kind of lining it up with the lower corner. And a nice even pressure. And you could have put that up on the Stamparatus as well. But look at this card. I mean, who doesn't want to get this card in the mail? I think it's so cute. A little note to your Nana inside. Right? Every Nana likes notes. They like to write them, but they love to get them. Yours might be just shocked if she got this in the mail. Right? Or your mom, sister, brother. All right, let me clean these stamps and then we're going to get to our final stamp set for today. Time flies when you're having fun. Actually, a good friend of mine is coming over right after this and we will be, guess what, stamping. She's a new stamper too, or a newish stamper. So I have some fun things I'm going to teach her this morning. I don't know if she knows that. She might have something in mind. Okay, now the other thing is, it's a good idea to take the chamois to the Stamparatus to clean it. Then if you got any ink on the Stamparatus, you can get that off at the same time. And there are some inks that stain. We'll cover that in our episode about inks, okay? All right, beautiful stamp set though. Please don't forget it. Celebration Tidings, brand new. Brand new. All right, I think we're going to go back to, well, I don't know. We might end up using the Stamparatus. Anyway, super cute card. I don't know where I'm putting all of these cards. I need to remember, there we go. I need to remember where they are so that when we recap, right, I can show them all to you. All right, so this one, we are going to bring in another white note card. We're going to have a really fun little Christmas card here. This is one of my favorite stamp sets. And it comes with an additional set of dies that are out of this world. When we talk about dies, you're going to be so excited if you don't know what they are already. You'll still be excited though. Okay, I pulled this stamp set for a reason because these stamped images have a really thick font, don't they? They are going to need a lot of ink, and there's a chance that if you don't ink them evenly, they might look streaked. They might have white spots in them. Girl, we don't want that. So let's use the Stamparatus, right? We already know we like it. It's already all ready for us, which even if it's not ready, it's super easy. And let me grab, I was going to say let me grab a cleaner plate. I don't necessarily have one. In the episode where in the future episode where we talk about the Stamparatus and all it can do, we will be talking about these hinges. But for right now, just know that this is functionally how you change the plates out. Okay, we already know, basically, what's even here, right? Because we've already set it up for a stamp or for a note card that is this dimension. So I already know where I need my stamp to kind of be. And again, bringing this in. I didn't take the sponge out this time because I'm still using photopolymer stamp, so it still needs the spongy base. All right, so the way this one works is super fun. It can be an all-inclusive. That means like you don't have to add another stamp set to it or something. You take the big words and you put the little words before, after, or in between them to make a statement, right? So peace to you and yours, peace to the world, happy and bright, merry and bright, sending peace on earth, right? You can even take this and use it with different stamp sets and have like happy birthday, or you know, another word that says merry. Uh-oh, my stamper friend's here. I'm gonna have to ward her off. Just 1 minute. Guys, quiet. Sorry, stampers. It's real life around here. Yes, it is. Okay, so we have this big, bold stamp. Let's place that. And let's use, 1 minute. Let's use joy. Well, let's use peace or bright. Let's use Merry and Bright. I'm just changing my mind. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know which one. All right, and I'm just gonna kind of put it right like this. So it's a little different. So it's not a straight line. She's gonna try and come in, and the dogs aren't gonna let her in. Okay. Put it right where I want it, right? And then I open that up. And let's grab Calypso Coral, which is a beautiful blue. Now remember, like the first stamp. 1 minute, stampers. Sorry, back again. I do apologize. Okay, so we are going to ink up this word bright. And remember that I told you, it can be kind of hard to ink that up and get it even, but if you're taking the ink to the stamp, then it's a lot easier. Also, if you are allowing yourself to use the Stamparatus, if you get it wrong, it's okay. A perfect case in point. This has a few spots. Let me bring it a little closer. This has a few spots that could stand for some re-inking. There's some white showing through. It just does that normally because this is such a large surface area for ink. So let's do this. Let's just stamp it again. Tango! Yes, if you watch my videos, you have to put up with the kids. Okay, that's much better. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? It is bright, isn't it? Okay, now, this is what you can know about the Stamparatus right now. You take this off, just turn it over, and then put your next sentiment on it with a different color, and you'll be good. Enough. Okay, so let me bring, I think I want another color of blue, maybe. Bermuda Bay. That's fun, isn't it? Okay. So again, this is so handy because we want to place happy and bright, I think. Happy and let's do merry and bright. That was off a little bit. You can say happy and bright though if you wanted to. That's fine. But I'm going to say merry and bright. Oh, brother, I don't know where this goes now. There we go. Oh, the dogs. Tango, stop it. Go. Now quit that. Just give me a few minutes. Of course, if I was close to the beginning of recording this, I would get rid of all this. But I'm not going to. We're an hour in. We can't ruin all this beautiful work. Okay, so now I'm going to place these a little more straight. One thing is that the photopolymer stamps kind of stick to you. So sometimes I like to move them around with my Take Your Pick tool. Still on the shopping list because I don't know when we'll ever get rid of that, right? Okay, so I put them like a little staggered. And then, just because there we go. Ooh, that looks pretty already. All right, so then I'm gonna bring in this dark color. Again, this Bermuda Bay, a little bit of a darker blue-green. And this also has a lot of ink sections, so I might even ink those a second time, really lightly, just to get everything ready. And I just noticed I just used my finger, like I didn't want to over ink it. That's nice. So cute. You know, I don't like to do every single Christmas card. Oops, sorry. I don't like to do every single Christmas card in traditional colors. In fact, I do lots of them in non-traditional colors. So, because here's my little secret about that. I picture everybody's walls, right, with Christmas cards or however they display their Christmas cards. I picture people's large displays. And then I picture my card. I want my card to stand out from the crowd. So feel free to use that little trick, right? Okay, I think we like that. Do we like that? Yeah, we like it. Okay, so again, pick those up, and now I'm gonna use this really fun color called Melon Mambo. So we're definitely doing a play on red and green, but we're doing pink and blue-green. Isn't that fun? I think it's fun. Oh, it is merry and bright. And then I'm gonna take this one. Actually, I'm gonna clean these first. Clean these, and then put this down up here. And again, I kind of want it off kilter. And just pick it up, ink it. I think you understand what's going on here now. But we're just gonna finish this because it's so cute. Look at that! I'm in love with this card. It is definitely a merry and bright Christmas card. Love it, and quick. Oh my gosh, so quick. Of course you have different things you can add to this, but isn't it cute? And it stands out. See, that's kind of the difference between using the white cards, you know, and the vanilla cards. So let's take a look at our beautiful set of cards that we did this week. Oh, I love them already. I can't wait to send these out. If you would like to receive one, you can private message me your mailing address, and I would love to send it to you. As well as you can also receive all of the current catalogs from me. I only charge for one of them, and that is the annual catalog. And I charge $10, which really just covers the priority postage for it. But I turn around and I give you a coupon for $10 off of your first order. So you get that money back with your first order from me, and the rest of the catalogs are free. So please let me know if you're interested. Now we've made 4 really pretty cards today, don't you think? Using different techniques, very basic. But I hope you've learned a little bit about the different types of stamps and the different types of ways to stamp, right? The Stamparatus or the blocks. We'll be working with all of these techniques more in the next episodes, but we'll be working on advancing, right? We'll be working on doing different techniques and whatnot. So I do apologize for the barking. Life is going to happen, right? And if I'm in a studio, that's different, but I am a beautiful crafter at home. So anyway, I want to thank you so much. And so here is your shopping list. I'll have 2 screens for that, but here's the first one, of course. We've got the stamp sets we used, the white note cards and envelopes. And again, if you want the vanilla, you just go to thestampingzoo.com, hit the Shop Now tab, and shop away. And if you want the vanilla cards, you can just type in vanilla, and that will be one of the choices. So screenshot this if you'd like to for a shopping list, as well as I always like to post some basics that you might want to start adding to your Stampin' Stash, because I'm sure that once you start stamping, you are not going to want to stop. These are all beautiful Stampin' Up! Products. I will make sure that you know how to use them and that you enjoy them. I'll answer any questions you have, whether or not you're purchasing from me. And I just hope that all of you have a really wonderful week. I'll be back here next week with more Stampin' Basics and more Ready Set Stamp. And I appreciate you so much. Thank you again.